Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lodi Chamber of Commerce webinar. Today, we have a fun-filled webinar with you today, and we have Tom, your president, El Presidente here. What's up, Tom?
Hey, great. Thank you, Doug. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today for this month's webinar. And super excited about this because the Lodi Chamber of Commerce is all about helping businesses, helping the community. And sometimes we forget that, the business members are members of the community. And sometimes those members of the community eventually sometimes transition over and start their own businesses. So we thought it'd be super exciting, and if we can kind of get everybody excited about starting their own business this year. Of course, it's a very scary prospect, as anybody who has started their own business, and it's definitely not easy. And sadly, 30% of small businesses have closed over the last year due to the pandemic. That's very sad, but it also means there's a lot of opportunity for new business owners and entrepreneurs out there who want to fill in that gap or find new niches that they can build their own businesses in. So we have a great panel of super special guests for everybody today to learn from, and hopefully be your future mentors and coaches, and help you with help you down that scary trip of starting your own business. So first we have Joel Clark from Investors Bank. He works on the commercial lending side and is a small business specialist, and can help you with figuring out the financing. Of course, that's kind of the scary part is, do I have enough money to start a business? How much money do I need? What are some expenses I need to look out for? So Joel's going to be here and be your guide to help you figure out that tricky portion. The second guest we have today is Willie Tolbert from Legal Shield. Of course, it's very scary having your own business, and what type of liabilities are you opening yourself up to? What do you have to watch out for? And most importantly, how do you actually start a business, right? What's the legal aspect of incorporating, right? And yeah, you have your C share, you have your C corp, S corp, LLCs, LPs, MLPs, all these. There's a whole alphabet soup of stuff that you need to know, and Willie's going to be here to kind of help coach you through that. And then once you got your business started, you have to get paid somehow, right? And how are you going to process those payments? How are you going to sell your goods, right? So we have Martin Gutierrez, local Lodi native. We see him around town all the time. And he's going to tell you about how different processing payment systems and what to look out for. And how do you know you're getting a good deal when you work with a credit card processor? And fourth guest we have is probably the trickiest part of running a business is marketing. And we have, of course, Doug. We're gonna hopefully you'll give us some info at the end of the webinar and kind of teach us some of the tricks of the trade and how to create a social media strategy for your business. Okay, so without further ado, I'm gonna let the experts chat and help you out.
And just want to remind you guys, this is live and it's interactive. So if you guys put questions in the comments section, we will answer them live with you tonight. So without further ado, we're bringing in Joel.
Yes, thank you very much, Joel.
Right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the talk today. Looking forward to this opportunity. Appreciate everybody that's been able to join and to participate. As Tom said, it's certainly a scary prospect to start a business in this climate that we're presently in, especially when you hear statistics such as 30% of businesses went out of business last year, and so forth. But how I would encourage you is if 30% of businesses went out of business, then that means that it's created some room for some opportunity for some new businesses to join and to take their place. As I've been with Investors Bank, and I've been in the banking industry for almost 20 years now. I've worked with many business owners. Hello, Jeanette. Work with many business owners from many different industries. And although every industry is different and has its own uniqueness, there are some things that are consistent from one industry to the next, especially when it comes to lending. So some general rules of thumb, any loan that a bank would be looking at has to consist of three major things, and that's credit, cash flow, and collateral. So those are the three basic foundations. Of course, there's more things involved, but those are the three basic foundations to any loan. You take your personal loan when you're buying a home, a mortgage. You have to have the house, which is your collateral. You have to have the cash flow, which is your job. And then, of course, you have to have credit, which means you've demonstrated a good history of making payments. And outside of knowing you personally, an institution utilizes your credit to get a general understanding of how you manage your finances and so forth. So those are the three basic building blocks of lending, that any type of a transaction, typically it needs to have those three pillars. For new businesses, of course, that's a little bit more tricky. When you're just starting out and you're just starting a new business, you don't necessarily have the cash flow because you don't own the business. You're trying to purchase it. But what institutions typically do is they partner with the SBA, and the SBA has made provisions for institutions to set up the cash flow and to review these new business transactions and what they call business acquisitions. They put provisions in place to substitute for those things. So we're able to take a look at the existing cash flow of the business that you're looking to take over or to purchase or to acquire. We look at the cash flow and how that business has performed in the past. And we do that by looking at their previous year's performance, their tax returns, essentially. And most institutions are what you would call historical cash flow lenders. So as a historical cash flow lender, the banks typically are looking to see how a business has operated historically. So if you're going to be purchasing an existing business, they want to see that this business has successfully operated historically. Oftentimes, business owners and individuals that will be looking to acquire a business say, I have so many contracts coming, and it's going to generate this amount of revenue and that amount of revenue. And that's very important because it allows us to look at projections and what is projected to happen. But in the event that those don't take place, really the thing that supports the cash flow is the historical production of that business. So that's really one of the things that they look for and they take into consideration. Collateral comes in a number of different forms. Of course, it could come in the form of real estate. It could also come in the form of account receivables. So there's a lot of different opportunities to acquire a new business, and a lot of different details that are important, which we could certainly speak about, specifically when if that opportunity presents itself to you, or if you have something that you'd like to consider. For individuals that are starting a new business, two things that I think you should always take into consideration is the importance of passion. Passion is very important, and you have to maintain passion and have to have passion, but it's not the sole important thing. And as an institutional lender would always want to see passion, but they'd also want to see the skill set as well. So oftentimes we speak to people that have decided that they're going to do it this time. They're going to get into the business that they've longed to do and they're passionate about it, but they've never actually worked in that field and they've never actually done it before. So it creates a bit of a challenge because they don't necessarily know the bumps and the obstacles that are akin to that industry. So definitely make sure that the skill set is there and it's something that you can demonstrate with the industry that you're looking to jump into, or the business that you're looking to partake in. And then the other thing that I would suggest is, if you're going to look for financing, don't quit your day job just yet, because the income that is coming from your day job could assist you in supporting any new credit or any new lending that you'll be taking on. And if you quit that day job, then you lose that level of income, but your personal expenses and all of those types of things still need to get paid. So definitely don't quit your day job just yet if you know for a fact that you're going to be going for lending, and that's important. And they'll certainly talk you through the need for how much time you'll be able to dedicate to your new business with your day job. But it's better to have to figure out the time as opposed to having to figure out the cash flow. And for existing business owners that are looking for financing, one of the things that we typically hear, just rounding this up, one of the things that we typically hear is that banks are not lending. It's a very famous line that we hear. But really, banks are lending. They're very eager to lend. And there's, especially in a time like right now, there is a tremendous amount of programs that are available to existing business owners, especially those that have an exceptional amount of tenure in their industry and so forth. And one of the things that the financial institutions recognize in this present condition that we're in is the companies that we were looking to lend to in 2019, 2018 might have taken a hit in 2020. So let's not turn them away just because their numbers in 2020 don't look necessarily too favorable. Let's review them and really take an in-depth look at them and review the management team that is involved with that company. Let's take a look at the industry, and let's take a look at the company itself and how the company is ran. And by looking at those additional factors, it could really allow us to get past any challenges that might have transpired in their most recent numbers. So I really want to encourage everyone that if you are looking for lending, you're in the need of some new equipment, new financing, you want to buy that building, you're nervous about if this is the time to expand, I encourage you, let's entertain it. Let's entertain it. Let's see what we can get done. It's definitely a good time. One other thing to take into consideration is leading up to 2020, there were a tremendous amount of baby boomers that were looking to retire and actually sell their businesses. And that opportunity still exists. There's a lot of great businesses out there to be acquired by the baby boomers. And they maybe had a 5-year plan, but 2020 has shrunk that 5-year plan down to 6 months, 7 months, and so forth. So my information will be posted afterwards. If you have questions, be more than happy to help. It's one of the things that I love doing is helping business owners navigate these challenging topics. Tom, thank you so much.
Awesome. Nice stuff. Nice stuff. I'll bring Tom back in here too. I want to remind you guys, this is interactive. So if you have any questions throughout the show, please leave them in the comment sections. We can answer them live. And yeah, Tom, you got anything, questions for Joel before we switch out?
Great couple takeaways. Joel was of course, it doesn't hurt to talk. If you're not sure if you have enough money to start a business, why not talk to a financier and figure out whether you do or don't, and having a conversation with you can then maybe figure out like how much extra capital do you need, and maybe then you can find investors,
Exactly.
But the things, if you don't know, if you have $5,000 but you need 10, well then then now's the time to hustle and try to find additional capital. But maybe what you have right now is enough. Who knows?
Exactly.
But yeah, I love that. That's great advice, Joel. And of course, we talk about this a lot. Let your side hustle eventually become your full-time hustle. So
exactly.
don't jump ship right away too soon. Maybe start build the brand a little bit and then go in head first afterward. That's great. Great advice, Joel. And we'll include Joel's contact information in the comments at the end of the video. So if you want to contact directly via LinkedIn and email and all that stuff, we'll have his details right there. Thank you very much, Joel. So next we'll have Willie Tolbert, our in-house legal expert. He is an associate from Legal Shield, and they have a plethora of different services they offer for new businesses, established businesses, and also for your personal side too. Helping you with your wills and things like that. So I think Willie's just a great guy to talk to, just in general, even if you don't have a business. But we're going to have Willie talk a little bit about incorporating your business and the things to look out for when you're starting up. So without further ado, Will.
Well, good afternoon, good evening, Tom. Thank you so much for that great introduction. I appreciate sharing this platform with such esteemed gentlemen as we have tonight on the panel. And I've been given the task of talking about what it's like to structure your business, what it takes to form that business. And you heard my colleague, Mr. Clark, talk about the money, where show me the money. Well, before we get there, I need to share some principles, some things that will be essential that you can get more money and be prepared when you go to the bank. First of all, how many can identify where I got this hobby? I was maybe the woman loves making dolls, or maybe the guy loves making houses, or maybe lawning, and maybe some young ladies love driving the truck and want to own their own tractor trailer. That is so awesome, because why? Every single one of us has something on the inside that tells us we can have more, we can do more, and we can be more. And a lot of times, one of the things I always like to focus on is how to take what I do as a hobby and make it a legitimate business. Because oftentimes we find that, as Mr. Clark brought out, wherein you got to have a passion for the things that you do. And so you got this drive, you got this passion, all of a sudden you're making a few bucks. And because how many can remember people that would, we say, go to the trunk of their car, pull it out, here you go, highest bidder. Well, what the bankers are looking for, what the financiers are looking for, one is how to take your business from operating out of the trunk of your car to a legitimate structure. So I want to begin with talking about, you're going to hear terminologies like LLC. A lot of people reference LLC because why? Everybody talks about it, but they also have something called the S Corp. And I'll go in the definition of what that is. And then they have something called the C Corp. And there's so many other structures, but due to limited time, I would just, as they say, hit it and quit it. And so, first of all, what a S Corp, by definition, is formed by the federal income tax. It's a closely held corporation for, in some cases, a limited liability or a partnership that makes a valid election to be taxed under subchapter S of chapter 1 of the Internal Revenue Code. In general, S corporations do not pay any income taxes. Instead, the corporation's income and losses are divided among and passed through. Then we have a C Corp. A C corporation is a corporation that's distinguished from an S Corp, which generally is not taxed separately. Many companies, including most major corporations, are treated as C Corps for federal income tax purposes. And then we have what we call the LLC, the Limited Liability Company Corporation. And a lot of times, I never forget, when my wife and I, we were so excited, we set up this LLC and we went to our accountant. Yes, we got an LLC. He said, okay, what type? What type? It's an LLC. You understand? So I realized that many of you may have been or may be right where we were at the moment, just knew I got my LLC, now I'm ready to really launch my business. Whoa, let's put the brakes on for a moment here. So first, let's start here. Keep in mind that when an LLC earns income, it flows through to its members immediately, and the member pays ordinary income tax, the lowest possible tax rate, approximately 30%. Now, let me just do a disclaimer. I am not an attorney and I'm not an accountant. However, we have resource people that I can introduce you to that can give you the accounting terminologies and the legal terminologies. So just contact us at the end. But I just kind of want to whet your appetite just to get you an idea to let you know, pull the dreams off the shelf and realize there's greatness inside of you. So an S Corp can be taxed as a corporation, and when it earns money, it pays corporate tax around 21%. Again, watch the numbers. And then when it distributes the earnings to its shareholders, they pay capital gains tax, double taxation, which will result in approximately a 6% higher tax rate than an LLC's income flow through ordinary income tax. Now, I may use some terminologies that may be like, what? Don't worry about it. Write your questions down. If we don't have the answer for you tonight, reach out to us. We know how to get the answer for you. The scheme works when you work as an employee. For the S Corp, you pay yourself a reasonable compensation. For such work, half of that compensation is subject to payroll taxes. The other half, the company pays for, which since you own the company, you're really paying double tax. The number comes out to be exactly the same as self-employment tax, like for an LLC. But so, for the sake of less complication, the LLC wins immediately is because it's paying less taxes because you're only taxed one. The S Corp, however, it benefits when it has large income. And I'll throw some numbers out. Let's say $1 million. Everyone would love to be a millionaire, but let's look at the options. The S Corp earns money, but only pays to you the reasonable compensation for your employment. So just to kind of bring my discussion to a close, I want you to understand that what's your business idea, number one, then that will determine what type of structure will best suit your particular situation. Let me give you an example. We're in the process of getting what we call our trademark, our intellectual property. By the way, sidebar, you may want to also consider that you need to trademark your business, copyright your business idea, because it's important to you and you don't want nobody to be siphoning off your great ideas. Next thing you know, they're running your business across town and you're going, but that was my idea. We got to talk about protecting it. So as I stated earlier, that the S Corp benefits when it comes to large money. The S Corp, in addition, there is no guarantee your investment will make enough money to offset the higher tax rate it pays. So again, the S Corp is better if you make large sums of money and keep that in the S Corp's name and invest it. With the LLC, you have far greater control over your money and the business. Just when you invest it, if you even do that, some taxes have been taken out already, causing a smaller amount to be invested, therefore potentially resulting in lower gains. And we have so many illustrations and examples that we can really go into. But what I encourage you to do, let's schedule a confidential one-to-one conversation and we can get more details for you and then align you with the professionals that will help you to make certain that you're setting the structure up properly and making sure that your books will be correct. So with that, Mr. Tom, I turn the call back over to you.
Great. Thank you very much, Willie. Insightful as always. You have great knowledge, and most importantly, Willie, what I love about you is if you don't have the answer, you have a whole team of experts there at Legal Shield that can get you whatever accounting questions, legal questions, or financing questions, whatever. So yeah, I highly encourage anybody to chat up Willie after the seminar. So next, let's meet with Martin Gutierrez, who works with Heartland Payment Processing. And that's it's a very confusing industry for new entrepreneurs because they know, hey, you go to a store and you just swipe the card and you just assume that it's just that easy, but you don't realize there's hundreds of different companies out there. There's different rates that you're paying. And most importantly, you don't, they kind of bifurcate all the information. So you don't know what's a good deal and what's a bad deal. So we brought our payments expert, Martin Gutierrez, to be your guide. Martin?
How you doing, Tom? Thanks for bringing me up. I know it's going to be hard to follow up Willie today, but one of the things I really wanted to touch base on, I know payments is a big thing, right? You already got your brick and mortar set up. You got your law team behind you. Now, you obviously want to set up a POS system, whether it be through a credit card swiping system or a register. Sometimes what happens with that is people go to pay. There will be a fee that gets tacked on. Either you're going to pay for it. Typically ranges about $30 in the industry, whether you'll pay for the fee or you'll disperse it amongst all your customers. Now, sometimes people don't want to pay those fees, and I can understand it if you don't have a business where you're going to have 30 swipes a month. You might just want to take that fee upon yourself. And POS systems, that's a whole world that you're going to see, like you said, Tom, a million people come up to you and talk to you about it. But I think the most important thing is now you have, at Heartland, we cover everything from payment processing to HR system to payroll, time and attendance. And one of the biggest things once you already started your business is, great, I got my business, now how am I going to pay my people, right? I got my structure from the bank, I got my structure from my accountants. Now, how am I going to pay my people? And the most important thing that comes into it is your payroll. You want to make sure that your taxes are being paid correctly, right? You don't want to be paying the wrong amount of taxes, because most of the time when an employee or a business owner decides to pay their own tax, their people, they're going to fill out their checks. On average, about 40% of small business owners have to pay $845 a year on IRS fees. And that's never fun, right? So what we do is we simplify that. Everybody knows payroll companies, they come and simplify it. The difference between Heartland that I wholeheartedly believe is that we take everything into account, right? We want to make sure that, you know, your payroll specialist is going to be your 411, I'm your 911. You need anything, you call me, right? And when it comes to paying your people, you want to make sure that their PTO time is set up correctly. You want to make sure that their sick time is set up correctly. You want to make sure that their overtime is being compensated correctly, because the last thing you want to do is have somebody working and you're not being able to manage their time and attendance, right? You don't know, oh, how many hours did you work this week? Oh, I worked 20, I worked 3 days or 4 days. With Heartland, having a payroll system, whether you use us or use the competitors, having a payroll system and an HR time and attendance system, that is very valuable, right? You'll be able to see how many hours are up. And let's say you have 4 or 5 employees, right? This is where time and attendance comes into play. Say you have 4 or 5 employees and you have the week laid out on a Tuesday or Wednesday. You don't know who's coming in, and your schedule came up, but John called out, he's going to be out sick for the rest of the week. Now it's Sunday night. You can very easily go into the system and put out the schedule. Let everybody, it's an open schedule, and you let people add their hours and choose the hours that they want, right? Especially nowadays, everybody wants to work. Everybody wants to make some money. Nobody really wants to sit at home. Nobody can afford to sit at home. So thankfully, we have that system in play where your employees can go in themselves and, you know, edit their times, because you want your employees to be able to see where their work is and have that flexibility, right? Because work-life balance is very, very important, okay? When it comes to the HR, that is probably the most important structure that you need. Hands down, you do not want to go visit. You don't want to have to go visit a lawyer because you're being sued. When you have an HR policy in play, you get an employee handbook. Now, most of the time when I meet with a business owner and I ask them, hey, how's your employee handbook? 9 out of 10 times I'll hear, I have one, but I haven't updated it since we first opened our business. Or I haven't really started one. You know, we just opened up a couple months ago and we really don't have an employee handbook. Great. So you're telling me you hired somebody, you told them, hey, this is what you're going to do for work. This is going to be a job. This is going to be your hours. These are going to be how much you're going to make per hour. And that's that. So that's really not what you want to do. You don't want to just tell somebody that and then have them come later and say, well, you never told me this. You never told me that this time my sick time worked. You never told me. When you have an employee handbook, you have a structure. You have a legal structure where we at Heartland will make sure that your employee handbook, if you want us to update your employee handbook, we'll update it every single day for you. That is not an issue. but you need to make sure that you have an employee handbook, that your employees know how they're going to get paid, they know the work. Any disciplinary actions, this is probably the one that drives everybody crazy. Any disciplinary action, just because I come and I tell you, hey, you weren't supposed to do this, that doesn't count as a warning. You need to put it in the system. Protect your business. Everything is on social media nowadays. You do not want to be seen as that boss that did the wrong thing, that said the wrong thing. Make sure, no, I told you you weren't supposed to do this, and you signed off on it. First day of work comes in, boom, you put a book right in front of your employee. They fill out, they sign their name, they see what they're supposed to do, and that just brings up your employee retention up. It makes your employees stay longer. Statistically proven that your employees will stay longer once they see that, you know, there is a structure, a big structure to the company, that it's not just us, I'm going to come in, punch in, and leave. You know, there's a basis behind everything. And then important is your payroll. Now, it's very important. I'm looping back to the payroll side. And when you're dealing with a company like Heartland, we are very proactive, not reactive. What I mean by that is you want a company that's going to be proactive and helping you get as much money back as possible. So recently, this whole week, I went on meetings and I would ask people, hey, what piece of legislation changed last week? Nobody kind of knows, right? Everybody's like, oh, the American Rescue Plan. What happened with that is there is, without getting too crazy, because I could just go into this dark hole, just start talking about these things. There's something called the Employee Retention Credit, where you can claim up to 70% of taxable wage for your employees per quarter, up to $10,000. So if your math is right, if my math is right, it's one employee. If they make up to $10,000 per quarter, so 4 times a year, it's $40,000 a year. You can claim up to $28,000 for the year on tax credits, simply for having somebody on payroll. Now, there's certain intricacies to it. You have to be doing less than last year by certain percentages, like 50%, 20% against last year. Your receipts have to be down, and then, or it could be 50% against 2019. Again, I'm not an accountant. Again, I don't, but I am always on the IRS website, and that is the number one thing that popped out to me, because that is money that a lot of, even the customers that I already have that are on my payroll system, I call them, my clients, hey, let me talk to your CPA, let me reach out to them, because it is very important that you're claiming all these tax credits so that at the end of the day, you have more money in your pockets. The operation costs, you can fund more things, you can go back to us and buy a new register, a fancy new gadget if you want. But that is very important. And that's something that a lot of people are dropping the ball on. They're not seeing it ties in with the PPP, so with the payroll protection plan. That is, the PPP ties in with the employee retention credit, and before you weren't able, it was either one or the other. Now you're able to double dip in both to a certain extent. So it's very important. Know how you get paid, know how to pay your employees. You set up this brick and mortar that you dreamt of your whole life, and the last thing you want to do is have an employee, we all know it, we've all seen it, have an employee come in, ruin your business, or not be able to take care of the credits that the government has given you, right? You're starting a business, it's hard times, they acknowledge it, and that's why these tax credits are coming into play. A lot of people don't apply for the PPP loan. That's a perfect prime person for me to go work with, right? A lot of times this week, 2 clients this week, I went in, they're like, no, I didn't do the PPP, too much of a headache. Great, you qualified. This one person is getting $56,000 just because she's got 2 employees, and now it's going to extend past June. So on Friday, the law passed it that it's going to go from June to December 31st. So there's more money to get out there. Just know your stuff. Know that if whoever payroll provider you're going to have, if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me after this. I will put my email and my link on there, but reach out. I'll definitely love to look at your financials, see how much you guys are paying with credit card processing, see how much you guys are paying for your payroll, and see if there's anything that we could add of value to make it happen for you. Well, thank you guys.
Great. Thank you very much, Warren. You brought up some great points that, a lot of times you don't even think about when you're setting up a business. What's your HR policy? How are you going to set up vacation days for your employees? And if it's sole business, it's not that big of a deal, but eventually you want to get to a point where you expand and you have some additional help and some staff. So you have to be prepared for that. And not only how are you going to collect payments from your employees, but how are you going to pay yourself and your staff. All great stuff, Martin. Thank you very much for bringing that up for our future entrepreneurs. So now you got your business set up, you got everything going, you're paying your staff, but how are you going to get customers in the door, right? You need to have a marketing plan set up. So today we're going to have our own very own marketing guru, Doug, from Undefeated Media. Tell us a little bit about setting up a social media strategy and getting people to your website, getting people to your store, and getting them to buy stuff. Doug?
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. So yes, we are here at Undefeated Media. We're a full-service production and marketing studio. We have a podcast studio. That's where I'm at right now. And, if you guys want to do a podcast, this could be you sitting over here with me in the podcast studio. I want to take a little bit of a different approach. I would like to answer the questions that you guys have. If you want tips and tricks or you're struggling, please put them in the comments. I would love to riff and go off the top and help you guys personally with what you're dealing with. But I'll start it off with everything that you guys heard tonight. Great information. And you gotta do that. You gotta do your due diligence. You gotta set up your LLC. You gotta set everything up. But once you're ready to rock, now it's time to jump. So now you got your passion, you're set up. Now it's time to jump and go full in. A lot of people are camera shy. A lot of people don't want to do a podcast. They want to wait until they get the perfect camera or person to take pictures, or they want to wait until they have their website up. We're in a day and age right now where the first type of communication that you're going to have with people is social media. You don't have to wait until your website's completely up. You could be posting, if you're a florist or you're having a restaurant, you don't have to wait for that website to be up. You can start taking pictures and putting on Instagram and starting your business. You need to jump. A lot of people are afraid to make the jump. So how important it is to market our business. There we go. Thank you, Willie. Willie's going to start us off. So it's super important. The whole, the saying, if a tree falls and there's no one around, doesn't make a noise. It's the same thing. If you are running a business, you got a business, and you're not on any of these social media platforms, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys seen The Matrix. You guys, and now I'm going to get really geeky on you. If you die in The Matrix, you die in real life. The Matrix is this new world, it's social media. If you're not in the Matrix, you're not real. Your business is not out there. The first thing people do, if I said, hey, have you checked out, this is Willie's question. So if you checked out Willie's doing some great stuff and setting up my LLC. First thing people are going to do is going to check him out on Instagram or LinkedIn. They're not thinking to go to websites anymore. So the analogy I usually tell people is like, your social media is that big sign on your storefront, that big neon sign that people are like, oh, cool. Like, what's that store? That's your social media. Now, when they're ready to buy from you, that's your website. Then they go into the store and they go to check out. That's your website. So you want to make sure you have a super strong social media presence. And I'm going to put you in two polar opposite directions. One, you got to jump and you got to get going, even if you have to start with the camera phone and you have to take, those pictures that you can do at the low budget. But I'm also going to put you in the other direction that this is your business and you got to be professional and you got to make sure you're presenting yourself in the right way. So I'm going to pull you in polar opposite directions. Keep the questions coming. I would love to riff and help you guys with what you're dealing with communication wise. So now you're up and running. Now here's the story. There's a great TED Talk. It's called Start With Why. Look it up. It's a great TED Talk. I believe the guy's named Simon Sinek. And he explains how different companies communicate. Now, right now, we're streaming. This laptop right here is Apple. My phone is Apple. My watch is Apple. The headphones in my pocket are Apple, right? I'm perfectly fine buying all these things from Apple because Apple communicates and they start with why they do what they do. When you watch an Apple commercial, it's they think differently. They challenge the status quo. They got the colorful computers. Like that you're buying the why. If I said, hey, do you want to buy an MP3 player from Dell? You'd feel weird. Like, why would I want a music device from a computer company? Or if I said, hey, you want to buy a TV from HP? You'd be like, why would I? It doesn't feel right. But you're perfectly fine buying all these things from Apple because they start the communication with why they do what they do. And when you do that, if you watch this TED Talk, you'll see the brain works in different lobes. There's an animalistic front lobe. And like, as you get deeper, you get more into that animalistic and like logic's in the front. I'm not a scientist. I don't know how the brain works. But when you communicate with why, you bypass logic, you bypass rational thinking, and you want to be part of the team. You want to be part of the tribe. It goes into like that instinct where we were by the campfire telling stories, like sitting in a circle, like that's all they had to do. You want to be part of the tribe. So if you communicate with team, brand, why you do what you do, the passion about what you do. You've had all this passion. Now you got your LLC together. You got your business. You got everything going together. Now it's time to push that passion out and use that passion and communicate with that passion and why you do what you do. Yeah. So still, if you guys have, here we go. Rob's got one. Rob says he had a website, got tired of playing without anyone using it. I do have social media, which is great. Okay. So yeah, I mean, you want to build a community. So you do that by, doing a podcast, right? So I tell business owners all the time they should do a podcast because we want to work smarter rather than harder. You are a CEO. You are the founder of the business. You got plenty of other things you need to worry about than social media. That's why people hire me to help them manage it. But if you're in the beginning stages and you're just starting your business, it's really smart for you to do something like a podcast because you come in here, you sit and you talk for about an hour about what you're passionate about and why you're doing what you're doing. And now we take that full podcast like we're doing tonight. This is going to be on Facebook and YouTube. Right now we're 40 minutes in. It's going to be on Facebook and YouTube. The audio, we're going to strip that down. We're going to put it on iTunes and Spotify. And then we're going to take little minute clips from the podcast where you said something funny, where you said something interesting. You're going to pull that out. And there's all your Instagram clips when you said something like super interesting. And we want to work smarter rather than harder, make a lot of content. Now, in the beginning, you wanted to post every day. You wanted to post because, especially in dealing with each platform is different. So right now, Instagram is very noisy. You want to be smart. You want to make sure your stuff looks good. TikTok, there's not a lot of people. There's more people on TikTok than content. So you post a lot, you're going to get a lot of views. On Instagram, it's very noisy. You want to make sure that's the right thing because when people like it, comment on it, then you move up the algorithm and you get more bonus points. But yeah, you want to be smart. Posting every day used to be a thing of the past. Now you want to post more strategic so you're getting liked, comments, and shares. These social media platforms are a business as well. They want people to stay on the platform. They want people to stay on their website, on Facebook. So if you're putting up stuff and people aren't liking it and commenting it or reacting to it, Facebook's going to be like, this isn't really a good piece of content. I'm not going to show it to as many people. And you want to make sure like what you're putting up, if you're a real estate agent and you put up your Facebook posts every day are buy a house from me, buy a house from me, buy a house from me. It's not, no one's feeling a connection with that. If you're a real estate agent and you talk about what's the best school system in Bergen County, people are going to watch that video and want to know what's the good school system. And they're going to thank you for that tips. There's a great book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And it deals with social media. And the jabs stand for providing value. So provide value, provide value, provide value. And the right hook is the sale. By the way, I'm a real estate agent. Hit me up if you need any help. If you type in to Google the first television commercials, you will find from 1941, you will find the first television commercials. And basically it's a radio ad with just a logo on the screen because they didn't figure out that medium yet. Then we figured out the medium and now you see the television commercials you see today. Now, similarly, people are taking television ads and putting it on social media thinking they're going to get a great hit. They're going to get a lot of recognition. People have the choice of what they see on social media. They just keep scrolling if they're not interested. So you want to provide value and really like help people. And by the way, I do XYZ. We got some questions coming in. So Tom says, are boosting posts worth it? So if you're just starting out and you don't have someone like me who can help you with your social media, go ahead, throw a couple dollars and boost the post. But there are special tools that social media managers and marketers have that we pay for that we can really get detailed, targeted to, like if you're a yoga studio, you can, target a certain demographic in a 1 mile radius. Like there's special tools. Boosting a post is you're basically saying like, here's a couple bucks, please put it where I can get the most bang for my buck at the lowest rate, whatever. And you're kind of giving Facebook more control of where they're going to put your stuff. Rather, if you have special business tools and a business manager tools that you have on Facebook, like we pay for them, like we can detail target exactly what we want to do. And these go on Facebook, there's on Instagram, we have tools on Google. So if someone types into Google, looking for a home in Ridgewood or looking for a home in Lodi, and then they go on to YouTube an hour later and you're a real estate agent, you could be, hey, I heard you're looking for a home in Lodi. You should be using me. And you could put a video there because Google and YouTube are connected. So there's a lot of stuff that, I can get really in depth and go on for days about, all these little secret, marketing things and popping up. And like, I'm sure you guys see it all the time where you think about something, all of a sudden it's in your news feed. They're watching what you like and what you don't like. The more you like something and you watch videos on it, you're going to see more and more ads in it. It's tailored to you. People think it's like, privacy and they're scared of like that, but like it's meant to like make sure your interests are coming in your feed. What else we got? I would love to keep the questions coming. Jeanette's got a trucking company. So competitors, yeah. I mean, if you have someone who's competing with you, you got to put out better content and make a bigger community and develop a relationship with people so they want to choose you over someone else. If I'm a mechanic, how many times does the soccer mom van come into the mechanic's auto shop and is like, hey, we're driving, the check engine light came on, what do? I don't know what to do. Mechanic comes out, he flips the switch, the check engine light turns off, whatever. He flips the little switch, stuff, and she's like, how much do I owe you? He's like, don't worry about it. She takes off, has a nice day. Now, if that mechanic is making videos to show what he's doing on those little instances, how to connect the Apple CarPlay, how to fit, if the check engine light came on, like here's 3 simple tricks that might fix it. If you're putting out videos like that, you're building a brand. Then when the transmission blows and something that they need to help fix them with, they're going to come to you because they watched all these little tips and tricks of how they can connect the Apple CarPlay. How the window's stuck. Is there something I can do to fix so the window's not going up? But here, I just shimmied it a little bit, it went up. There's simple things that they could do. It's not going to affect their bottom line. They're not going to charge for them anyway. What else we got? Keep the questions. I really want to help where you guys are at. That's what I would really love to do. So if you're stuck somewhere or you're lost when it comes to social media, I really like to help the issues that you guys have. But on the broad scheme of things, one, you got to not be afraid and jump right into it. There's no perfect time. If your website's not done, there's still other outlets you can do. But get in gear and do something. You gotta do something. Jeanette says she's not ready to leave her employer right now. I'm not. You don't have to. I'm not saying quit your jobs. let me put that out there. I'm not saying quit your jobs, but if there's something you're passionate about, and you want listen to the video again and do all the things that our previous speakers have said. Set up your LLC. Make sure you're doing the things the right way. But I'm going to, tell you to follow your passion and start putting stuff out there, and start getting the ball rolling. But yeah, unless you guys got any other questions, my name's Doug Friedman. I run a studio here. It's called Undefeated Media, full service production and marketing. So not only do we help you make the content, we're helping you make those tips and tricks videos. We help you with podcasting. But then we also make sure the right people see it. Because like I said, if a tree falls down in the middle of the woods, no one's around to see it, doesn't make a sound. So I'll bring up El Presidente here. And,
Great.
I mean, any questions you got that I can answer? I mean,
no,
I much as I can.
Questions, and I'm glad you've been answering. And what I love is the interaction between our viewers and the panelists, because that's why we created this webinar series, is to make sure you guys get information from the people, from experienced people, and create mentorships for you and guide you along, your entrepreneurial lifestyle. So and we're going to post everybody's contact details and their social media details in the comments. So if you are watching this video later and you get a chance to catch it live, you know how to contact these experts. And the only thing I have to say is you have no excuse to not follow your dreams. You know, we got you the information you need. All the experts are here, and like all of them said, if they can't answer your questions, they'll find somebody that answers them. And the only thing we ask is for you guys to follow your dreams. Great. Thank you very much, Doug. And thank you very much, Willie, Martin, and Joel. Thank you very much, guys, for giving us your time and most importantly, your knowledge and helping everybody out today.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, we enjoyed it, and great job that you're doing, Tom, leading the charge during this time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tom.
Great. Thank you very much, guys. Yep. All right, great. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Okay.
Enjoy. Have a great evening, and feel free to add more comments to the video because our experts will continue to answer any questions after the video is over. Great. Thanks a lot.
Awesome.